The last time I saw her, she smiled like nothing had ever happened, the same way she used to when she wanted me to trust her. "I'll be back soon," she said, tossing me her keys as she left for the weekend, excitement sparkling in her eyes. I nodded, the words stuck in my throat. I wanted to say something, to ask her why I felt this pit in my stomach, why a shiver ran down my spine at her casual tone. But I didn't. Instead, I watched her drive away, a red blur disappearing down the street. The house felt too quiet, too hollow without her presence. I told myself it was nothing, that she deserved a break, that I shouldn't be paranoid. But deep down, I knew the feeling of unease wouldn't leave me. By Saturday evening, the knowing doubt had turned into a cold, insistent worry. Called her. Her phone rang through to voicemail. Called again. Nothing. Finally, I texted. "Hope you're having a good time. Can't wait to see you." Her reply came hours later. "All good here. See you soon. Love you. Love you." The words felt brittle, hollow, as if they'd been borrowed for convenience rather than meaning. I tried to distract myself. I cleaned the house, fixed the leaky faucet, even reorganized the garage. But my mind kept wandering back to her smile, to the way she said she'd be back soon. Something about that phrase gnawed at me. I had known her for 10 years, married for 7. Yet I felt as if I barely knew the person behind that familiar face. Then, Sunday night, I noticed her perfume lingering in the air, the one she always wore when she wanted to look irresistible. Only, she wasn't home. And this scent wasn't faint. It was strong, clinging to the curtains, the cushions. My chest tightened. I checked my phone again. No messages, no calls. I started pacing the living room, replaying every interaction from the last month. The subtle hints, the little lies, the sudden defensiveness when I asked simple questions. My mind raced, unwilling to accept the possibility, yet unable to ignore it. By midnight, I couldn't sleep. I decided to check something I'd promised myself I'd never need to. Her phone. She always left it charging on the nightstand. I hesitated, staring at it. This wasn't me, but desperation pushed me forward. Her messages told a story I wished I could unsee. One text after another, flirty, intimate, full of private jokes that weren't meant for me, photos exchanged, plans made, plans she had conveniently omitted from our shared life. My stomach churned as I realized the truth. My wife, the woman I had trusted with my heart, was sleeping with someone else. I wanted to scream. I wanted to throw the phone across the room. I wanted to cry, but the tears refused to come. The room spun. The walls closing in with betrayal so sharp it felt physical. And then it hit me, the phrase she had used that day. "I'll be back soon." She hadn't meant to reassure me. She had meant exactly what it said, that she was leaving. But she'd come back only when she had what she wanted, when her desire for someone else was temporarily satisfied. I tried to convince myself I'd misread things, that there was some innocent explanation, but the messages didn't lie. The timing, the language, the secrecy, it was all deliberate. She had planned this. Monday morning, I waited for her return. I rehearsed the conversation I would have. I imagined confronting her, shouting, crying, begging her to explain. But when she walked through the door, suitcase in hand, smiling tiredly as if she'd been on some harmless trip, none of that came out. "Hey," she said, dropping her bag. "I missed you." I looked at her. Really looked. The person in front of me wasn't the woman I had married. Or maybe she was, but only the parts I'd never truly known. My voice was calm, colder than I expected. "There's nothing left waiting for you here." You froze. Her eyes widened, searching my face. What do you mean?" I gestured around the living room at the air heavy with betrayal. "I mean, you're back, but you're too late. The trust is gone. The love, the loyalty, all of it. There's nothing left for you." Her lips parted as if to speak, but I didn't give her a chance. I had rehearsed this moment for months in my mind. In the nights after sleepless hours of agonizing over every detail, I didn't want words. I wanted finality. I saw the texts. I said simply, watching her face blanch. All of them. The photos, the plans, the lies. I knew before you walked in that door what you'd done. And somehow I wasn't surprised. She sank onto the couch, her hands shaking. I can explain, she whispered. Explain. I laughed, a bitter, dry sound. Do you think any explanation could make this right, that your excuses could undo the months of betrayal? The nights I spent worrying, wondering where you were and who you were with? Her shoulders slumped. She looked like a child caught in the middle of something she couldn't fix. And in that moment, I realized how much I had loved her and how utterly that love had been taken for granted. I thought we had something special, she said softly, as if testing the truth of her own words. We did, I admitted. But you decided you wanted more than what we had. You wanted someone else? You didn't just leave me. You left everything we built. There's no one doing that. For a long moment, she said nothing. I could see the panic rising in her, the desperation that had driven her to this. And yet, she didn't cry. She didn't beg. She simply stared at me, realizing that the person she had betrayed was no longer waiting for her. I made a mistake, she finally said. I never meant to hurt you. It happened. It didn't just happen, I said, my voice low and steady. You chose it. You made it happen. And now you have to live with it. Her eyes filled with tears then, and I didn't look away. I wanted her to see that my heart was breaking. Not in loud, dramatic ways, but in the quiet devastation of a man who had trusted completely, only to be discarded. I walked to the bedroom, grabbing my suitcase. I'm leaving, I said. She tried to follow me, but I shook my head. No, not like this. Not while you're still here. Not while you pretend that everything is normal. I can't do this anymore. I left the house, the key still in her hand, the door closing softly behind me. I didn't look back. I didn't need to. The next few weeks were a blur. I stayed in a small hotel, sorting through the wreckage of a life that had once seemed perfect. Friends called, offering support and condolences, but nothing could fill the emptiness left by betrayal. I replayed her smile in my mind, trying to reconcile the person I loved with the person who had lied to me every single day. Eventually, I started to rebuild. I found an apartment, a small space, with sunlight streaming through the windows in the morning. I started running again, the rhythmic pounding of my feet a kind of therapy. I immersed myself in work, in writing, in anything that allowed me to focus on something other than the pain. Months later, I received a message from her. Can we talk, miss you? I made a mistake. I want to fix this. I read it once. Then I deleted it. I didn't need her words. I didn't need her apologies. The man who had trusted her so completely had been broken, but he was no longer the same man who would open the door for her smile. I had learned something painful but true. Love doesn't always survive betrayal. Sometimes the strongest act of self-preservation is to walk away, leaving behind everything that was poisoned. A year later, I passed by our old house. The curtains were drawn, the lights dimmed. I thought about the life I had left behind, about the woman who had promised to be back soon. And I realized that her absence had given me something I hadn't had in a long time. Peace, I whispered to the empty street, a quiet promise to myself. There's nothing left waiting for her here, and that's exactly how it should be. I kept walking, my shoulders lighter, my heart learning to beat again. The betrayal had cut deep, yes, but it had also taught me a truth that no pain could erase. The only person I could rely on completely was myself, and for the first time in a long time, that was